All right, so you guys remember in our last class, we were solving systems by graphing. So, like this problem here, where we took this first equation and we graphed that by slope and by y-intercept. And so that was this orange line here. And then this second equation, we had to do a little work and solve that for y. And then we graphed it by slope and by y-intercept, and that was the blue line here. And then the intersection where the two hit each other, that was our solution, which was at -2, -3. So that's one way of solving a system, but we're going to do a different way today. Today, we are going to solve systems not by graphing, but by substitution. So here is a system, okay? We have two equations. We're trying to figure out what is the x and y value that makes both of these true. So we have 2x plus 3y equals 5, and we know that y equals -5. So what we can do is we can make a substitution, and I can plug in -5 for y. So I'm going to rewrite the top equation. I'm going to write 2x and then plus 3. But instead of writing y, I'm going to write -5. Okay, so again, I substituted, since y equals -5, I made that y -5. And now I only have an x so that I can solve that for x. So if I multiply these two things, I get 2x. And 3 times -5 would be -15. Is equal to 5. And remember, I'm trying to solve it for x. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. And we get 2x is equal to 20. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So x comes out to be 10. All right, so now I know that x is 10, but that's only half my answer, because remember, I need an x and a y. But it says, I can plug that back in here, but it already tells me that y equals -5. And so my answer is x is 10 and y is -5. All right, that's our solution. Yes, that's our solution. Move that down there. All right, so I'm going to do part C, and then I'll have you guys do part B. So in part C, it's similar problem. I have a equals 4b minus 1 and a equals -b plus 4. So I'm going to make a substitution. What I'm going to do is since a equals this in the bottom equation, I'm going to rewrite the top equation, but instead of writing a, I'm going to write -b plus 4. So I'm substituting -b plus 4 in for a. Okay, so I'm kind of swapping those two things. So I get -b plus 4. Okay, I'm rewriting this. -b plus 4 is equal to 4b minus 1. So I've made my substitution. But I now have to solve that for b. So I'll move my b's to the left. So I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides. And that gives me the 5b plus 4, and then it's equal to -1. Now I have to move this guy to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. Once we do that, we have -5b equals -5. And so then b equals 1. All right, but again, it's only half of my answer. I still need to figure out what the other letter is, what A is. So now I'm going to take that 1 and plug it in there so that I can figure out what A is going to be. So I have A equals, instead of -b, I'm going to write -1, because remember B is 1. And plus 4. So I get A equals 3. So that I'm done with my solution. So my solution is that A equals 3 and B equals 1. Right down there, my solution. All right, do we have any questions on either one of those two examples? We're still going to do a couple more. Anything on those? All right, would you guys then do B? It's a lot like problem C, so would you give part B a shot? And we'll go over that in a minute. All right, so for part B, we're going to make a substitution. Just like we did before, where we substituted this part in for A, we are now going to take -4x plus 8 and substitute that in for y. So once we do that, we get -4x plus 8. Okay, and then -2y, and this kind of confused some of you guys. So -2x is equal to -10. So I rewrote that top equation, but I just, instead of y, I wrote -4x plus 8, and then -2x equals -10. And now we have to solve that for x. So these two parts are like terms on the same side. So I'm going to add those together. I get -6x plus 8 is equal to -10. Then I'm going to subtract the 8 over. So we have -6x is equal to -18. And I divide by -6, and so x comes out to be 3. So we are halfway home. All right, now that we know that x is 3, I now can take that and plug it in for x to solve for y. So I get y equals -4 times 3, and then plus 8. Okay, so again, I took that 3 and I plugged it into that equation for x, since x was equal to 3. So I get y equals -12 plus 8, and y equals -4 then. So our solution is 3, -4. All right, I'm going to do one more on my own. This is a little bit harder of a problem. Okay, and the reason that 5A is a little bit more difficult is because I can't do a substitution right away. Like here, I was able to substitute that in for y right away because it was already solved for y. But in this problem, I can't do that. But I can take this bottom equation and like move that 2c over and rewrite that as d equals -2c plus 7. And then I'm going to cross that out. Okay, so I rewrote that second line. I moved the 2c over so that I had one of the letters, the d, by itself, one of the variables. Okay, because now I can make a substitution. Now I know that d equals this, so I can plug that in for d. And so I'll write the top equation as 5c minus 3, and now instead of writing d, I'm going to write -2c plus 7. And that is equal to 23. Okay, so now I want to just follow my distribution rules and solving that for c. So I'm going to distribute that -3, right, 5c plus 6c, because -3 times -2, and minus 21 is equal to 23. So 5c plus 6c, oh, I said c, but I wrote x here. That's supposed to be 6c, guys. I'm sorry. But 5c plus 6c equals 11c. And so then I'm going to add 21 to both sides. I have 11c equals 44. So c comes out to be 4. Again, it's only half my answer. I now need to plug that back in so that I can solve for d. So I'm going to write that second line, d is equal to -2 times 4 plus 7. And then that's going to allow me to solve that for d. So d comes out to be -1. And when we write our solution, they're typically in alphabetical order. And so we have a solution of 4, -1. So just like we were doing yesterday, where we were getting an ordered pair as our solution, doing it graphically, today we are just doing it using a different method, doing it by substitution.